Hello and welcome to Module 5 of Personal Selling. In this module, we're going to be going over presentations and sales proposals. So starting with presentations, the learning objectives for this module is to develop a sales presentation for a customer and to create a sales proposal and discuss it with a client. So what is a sales presentation? It's a formal communication or pitch from a salesperson or a business to one or more potential buyers. Its primary purpose is to introduce a product or service, highlight its benefits, and convince the audience of its value, ultimately persuading them to make a purchase or commit to a business deal. Presentations can vary in format, including face-to-face meetings, video conferences, webinars, or even through digital slideshows and documents. Presentations can look different depending on the product or service. For example, if it's a software as a service salesperson, the demonstration will involve walking the buyer through the software's interface. But if it's a construction company, it may involve showing a scaled model or a finished building as an example. Or for a car salesman, the demonstration stage is a customer's test drive. So here's a video here you can click on for best practices for technical sales presentations. It's short, I promise it's not too long, and it's a extremely informative video, so highly recommend you guys click on that and watch it. So what are the components of a presentation? They start with an introduction, which introduces the presenter, establishes credibility, and builds rapport with the audience. You identify the problem. So by outlining the problem, the need, or the challenge that the potential customer is facing, sets the stage for presenting the product or service as a solution. Solution overview, detailed explanation of the product or service, highlighting how it addresses the identified problem, its unique features, and its benefits. Testimonials and case studies, sharing success stories, testimonials or case studies from other customers who have benefited from the product or service can add credibility and illustrate its value. So an example would be when I first started my social media marketing businesses, I noticed that the problem for small businesses in San Marcos was that they didn't have the budget to hire a full-time resource. So that was the problem. They did not have a budget to hire a full-time resource, yet they know they needed social media marketing. The solution would be to hire myself, a freelance marketer that could work with their monthly budget, and they wouldn't have to pay all the overhead for a full-time employee. I also included testimonials and case studies from current and past clients to show the testimonial in the presentation. Pricing and packages provides clear information about pricing, packages, or any special offers. Q&A, allowing the audience to ask questions, which helps to clarify any doubts and engage them further in the presentation. Closing, summarizing the key points, restating the product's value proposition, and making a clear call to action, encouraging the audience to take the next step, whether it's making a purchase, signing a contract, or another form of commitment. Usually the next step is a proposal. So when you're preparing for the presentation, you always prepare with your prospect in mind. Plan which features to discuss, follow an agenda, plan for potential objections, identify client success stories, and have a clear next step. So diving a little deeper into all of those, preparing with your prospect in mind. So the purpose of a demonstration is to present a solution to your prospect's problems. Know all the people who are going to be there. I always like to research the people ahead of time. So say it's the owner of the company, I would research that person ahead of time, see if we have any connections on LinkedIn, see if they have a public profile on social media, maybe they have some if you Google them, their name, they could have been in some press lately. Research their bios on their websites and try to see if you have some sort of connection as like a little icebreaker so that they remember you outside of what you're trying to sell them. So planning which features to discuss. Your product likely has many valuable features. Preparing the points to your prospects will that they're most interested in, and preparing how you will demonstrate the value of your product. Now, when you're preparing for the presentation, you always want to follow an agenda. I like to share my agenda in the calendar invite, so I use Google Calendar. And when you send that calendar invite out, you send it to all people who are going to be attending the meeting. And in the notes section, you could put the agenda. Now, if it's going to be a pretty long agenda, you can email it to the customer or to a group later. You can actually create a Word document and attach it. It's up to you. You also want to plan for potential objections. So before the presentation, identify the potential objections your prospects may bring up during the meeting. Practice resolving the objections in role plays, either with yourself or a team member. An example can be when as a freelance marketer selling social media services, a question could be, how do we handle it when you're on vacation? How do we handle weekends? How are your payments? Do you have a minimum budget that we have to work with? So all these different objections, why they would go with someone else or why they wouldn't want to hire me compared to hiring like an agency or a full-time person. Using client success stories, again, testimonials, identify previous clients that are similar to your customer, such as similar size or similar industry, discuss an experience in a narrative with a problem at the beginning, then a resolution, and the concluding results. So say my prospect is Orfilea Winery and my current client is Twin Oaks Valley Winery. I can use success stories and testimonials from that one since they're in the same industry. Identifying clear next steps. Many new sellers forget to plan the next steps after delivering a great presentation. The goal of the presentation is to excite your prospect enough that they want to move to the proposal stage. Try to set a date for the next meeting where you can discuss a proposal. So for example, say you have your presentation on Thursday. Thursday morning, you give your presentation. Friday morning, you send them an email thanking them for their time for the presentation and that you're working on their proposal, and you will have it to them by Monday end of day. Monday end of day, you email them saying thank you again, attached to the proposal. Please review. Let me know if you have any next questions regarding anything, or if you want me to make any revisions. How about we set up a follow-up call on Friday, or a follow-up call or a follow-up meeting again on Friday. So here are kind of a couple slides here. This is the information that I usually put in my presentations just so people have a rough idea of what I do. Janovic Communications, do marketing, some current clients. And since my demographic is running, I always want to put in there that I'm the founder of UltraBuds Run Club and Ghost Runners Coaching, and then I'm a professor at MiraCosta College. This slide I reuse a lot so that people can get to know me outside of what I'm selling. So ultra runner, obstacle course racing, hiking, backpacking, pit bull rescuer. And this is a way to connect with people, I'm telling you. It can create icebreaker questions and comments and answers to kind of build a rapport with the prospect. And I won't tell you how many times that this last line here, Pitbull Rescuer, has connected me with people. As soon as I mention that, I usually get one person with their eyes pop up. And that's a great way to connect with people. Usually it's an animal lover, a pit bull owner, or someone who rescues dogs in general. So just another way to connect with people. Giving the presentation. If you're giving a virtual demonstration, turn your video on and allow the audience to see your face as you offer the demonstration. So be aware of lighting, audio, what's in your background. You can always blur your background. Make sure that you're dressed professional, your hair's combed, you don't have a hat on. Take off the hoodie and the beanie. You can be wearing sweatpants and pajama pants. That's fine because they don't see that on video, but make sure that you're dressed professional. Have your audience introduce themselves and kind of share a fun fact, a little icebreaker. Ask applicable questions throughout. Periodically ask your customers what questions they have. Always check in on them. Ask questions to gauge the customer's interest in your product. Ask if you have addressed what they wanted to see. And then if not, you can follow up. So, PowerPoint. So for this class, we have a PowerPoint assignment. PowerPoint, Google Slides, and Canva, they all kind of do the same thing now, so you can choose which application you would like to use, and they're all free, even PowerPoint as a MiraCosta student. So in case you didn't know, all MiraCosta students have free access to all the Microsoft applications, including PowerPoint. Here's the link to click on that on details on how to get that for free. Again, for this assignment, you can use Google Slides or Canva. You can also visit the resources section in Module 5 to download a PowerPoint example template. So moving on to sales proposals. So what is a sale proposal? It's a document that clearly outlines your offering. So it explains your product or service, what exactly the customer will get as part of the contract, and how much the customer will need to pay. It also can have a signature in it. So depending on how you write up your sales proposals, it can have a signature. It can also be an agreement and contract as well. Components of a sales proposal. Sales proposals can be anywhere from 1 pages to 20 pages. I mean, I had to do one in the government sector that was, they're called RFPs, but it was probably like 50 pages. There was so much information in there, had to be rewritten so many times. It takes like a month to create, but those are government contracts. The majority of sales proposals are, just a few pages. The ones I make are usually only 2 pages long. So cover page isn't necessary for every single type of sales proposal. If it's a big one, then yes. If not, you can just create a header with the client logo and name, and that works fine too. You want an About Us section, discuss your company, your products, and how you help clients find solutions to their problems. Clearly outline the challenge. Outline the challenge your prospect is facing based on previous conversations where your prospect has expressed the most important needs to them. Easily understood solution. Clearly outline why you are the solution they need. The more clear, specific, and concise, the better. Client testimonials. Include client testimonials from people or companies who have experienced similar challenges. Investment or cost. This is the cost of doing business with you. In some industries, you may find that clients desire to negotiate. So you also want to, in this section, show your differentiators. What makes you, hiring you, better than your competitor? What makes you stand out? What makes you different? And you want to do this in the way where you're positive too. You don't want to say bad things about your competitor. You only want to say what makes you better. So for an example would be, why would someone want to hire me as a social media marketer compared to the person next to me? Well, I have over 20 years of experience. I have multiple degrees, including a master's. I have multiple certificates, and I name them off. I work with clients in the same industry that I'm prospecting to. My pricing may be higher than the person next to me, but I'm going to get twice as much work done in a shorter period of time. So things like that. And then you also want to add what features makes you better if you're a product. Terms and considerations are always important. They're usually written by your company's legal department. Now, I know entrepreneurs and small businesses don't necessarily have a legal department. Perhaps they have a lawyer that they have on retainer, or they could just pay per project. Or you can look up online legal companies such as LegalZoom, where you pay a monthly membership fee, or you just pay for a project fee. Solutions like that are less expensive options. So always make sure that you have some sort of legal department looking things over, especially if it's a contract with signatures. Next steps would be, this may include a timeline that outlines payment, due dates, onboarding meetings, product delivery trainings, etc. I always include onboarding for my clients with social media and when the payments are due. For me, I have my clients pay ahead of time in advance. And a lot of different entrepreneurs do this now. Graphic designers, website designers, social media marketers. You pay before the service is completed, because otherwise you're just chasing money at the end of the month. Unless you have some sort of other agreement where it's direct deposit into your account. These are things we can get into later on in the semester, but make sure you have a timeline that outlines all these things. Otherwise, you're going to be chasing money. And always have onboarding meetings set in stone. Use the calendar invite tools. Signature, provide a clear spot for the decision makers to sign off on the proposal and date. Okay, so that is the module on presentations and sales proposals. And what is going to be due at the end of this week is check-in 5, book recommendations, discussion 4, improving presentations, quiz 5, and assignment 4, preparing for a presentation. So if you have any questions, concerns, please email me or come to my office hours.